Good afternoon, Dheeraj and Kavya.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Santosh has joined in. I've actually joined with the name of Sakshi Virmani, but my name is Shikhi Pandey, and I am going to be your facilitator. Okay. So today is your first day. We will start with finance and the financial sector. So just before I start, I would like to know a little bit about you. So I hope all of you are comfortable with English. You can understand English completely. Dheeraj, KD Yadav, Kavya, Akshay, Santosh. Anyone has any issue in understanding English? Okay, good. Fine, because our mode of the class would be English, but in case you don't understand anything, I can obviously explain to you in Hindi. But we would try to stick to English because your interview would also be in English, so it's better that you get comfortable with that language. Okay, that is one. Another thing is, you guys would have noted that Sakshi, who's your who looks after the governance of the course, would send you the topics which we will cover in the week, right? So it is a good idea if you can go through the topics through your LMS, because then we can have our learning in discussion, and the learning would be better if we can discuss it, if it is interactive. Okay, so I hope all of you have access to LMS. All of you have access to LMS. Okay, Dheeraj, yeah, that is what I'm talking about. You have to have access to the LMS. Okay, KD Verma says he does not have access. Who's your coordinator? Who you were coordinating with, Mr. Yadav? Who did you speak with? Dheeraj, Kavya. Okay, everybody says they don't have access to LMS. So my suggestion would be, please get in touch with your coordinator, with the person who helped you to get admission. Okay, so talk to Sugam. So Akshay has also joined in. Shiv sir, okay. So my suggestion is, please get in touch with your coordinators or the counselors who have helped you get admission, and ask them to provide the LMS. Okay, so LMS is the site which we will have to log in, and all the presentations which we cover in the class, you will have access to them there. Okay, so maybe today is Saturday, I don't know if you'll get a reply or not, but Monday definitely write to your counselors or speak with them and find out about your LMS ID. You are also expected to finish your go through the entire presentations and finish your quizzes before you appear for your interviews and your examinations. Okay, so that is one thing which should be done on priority, which is about getting your LMS ID. So when you look at I'll just show you the LMS, how it will look like and how you have to finish your exam. Just give me a moment. Okay, I hope all of you can see the screen. Your LMS is going to look like this. You'll have to put in your user ID and password, which you will get from Ematicus, and then you do sign in. So we are here enrolled for certification in banking and finance and wealth management. And these are the topics which we will cover. Okay. Right. So your course material is basically divided into 4 semesters. In the first, we will do finance primer. In the second, we will do banking. In the third, we will do wealth management. In the fourth, it is like combined, and we will try to wrap up what we have learned and prepare for the interview. Okay, so these are the 4 semesters. So we'll start with finance primer. And the topic which we are going to start is finance and finance sector. This presentation would be available to you. And after you have done the reading, so we will cover it in the class, but you are expected to go and read it on your own as well. After you finish this, there's a quiz which you will also have to do. Okay? And then at the end of each semester, you will have an evaluation, and we will try to see how much you have learned and how much you have retained from the learning. So before we start, do you guys have any questions? Any questions?
No, ma'am.
So as we all know that uh, an interactive session is better. So I would expect you guys also to speak up. I'll ask some questions, or in case you don't understand anything or you have something to add, please unmute your mic and speak, because that way our learning would be better. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Right.
Okay,
Uh,
ma'am.
right. So in today's session, we will try to see what is the need for capital in economy, what are the method of capital formation, harnessing of capital, and role of financial sector in intermediation of flows. So some of the words might look very overwhelming, but very simple. Capital means money. Okay. Economy would mean how resources are used. Okay. So as we all know, for doing anything, we need money. For growth, we need money, right? So for even for the development of the economy or the financial activity of a company or a corporate or a country, you need money. However, as you know that money is not abundant, it is scarce. So how do we generate that money, and how do we use that money is what we are going to see. So capital means money. So in the banking or the financial sector, remember one thing: capital is nothing but money. Economy is the study of those resources. So in this case, our resource is money, which is scarce, and how do we use this is economy. Okay. Now, where does this money come from? Method of capital formation. We've seen that a company or an economy needs money for growth. So how does this money come in? How do we gather that money? That is what method of capital formation and harnessing of capital. Now, it is not very simple. I might have a lot of money, but how do I give it to someone else? I cannot trust anyone just like that. So how do the money which I have in excess passes on to the people, to the person who are in deficit? So that is the role of financial intermediation. Intermediate, probably you would have heard, when we pass our class 10th and before we do our graduation, we are in the intermediate, or class 11th or 12th is also known as intermediate. So intermediate is something in between. So financial sector basically consists of people on one side who have a lot of money, which is known as surplus of money. And on the other side, you have people who need this money, people who will use this money. Those people are known as deficit of money. Okay. But there has to be a connection between people who are in surplus and people who are in deficit. So here, various kind of financial institutions like banks, NBFCs, housing finance companies or loan companies step in and they route the money from people who have excess of money to people who are in deficit. Obviously, they are not doing charity. The people in surplus want to earn more money from the surplus they have, and they know that the people in deficit or people companies will use it in a better way. So they route their money through the financial intermediary to the people in deficit, and that is the role which financial sector plays in intermediation of the flows. So let us look at need for capital in an economy. So if we read the newspaper, and we should actually, if you're preparing to get into professional world, one thing all of you have to start doing is start reading a newspaper. I can understand you might find it very difficult to read the Economic Times in the first go because there would be a lot of technical terms which you don't understand. But start reading, the business page of one of the newspapers, because that will keep you connected with what is happening in the current scenario, and that will also open up your brain. So there might be some things which you don't understand, which obviously we can discuss in the class. Okay, so my suggestion to all of you would be to start reading a newspaper from today itself is possible, but definitely from tomorrow. It'll help you in two ways. One, it'll work on your vocabulary and your language, and also it'll help you connected with the current scenario. Right. So if you look at the Indian economy, it is considered as one of the fastest growing economies in the world. The pandemic, however, has affected our dreams. Actually, the Indian government had a mission of getting the economy to 5 trillions, which seems a little difficult because we are just under 3 trillion as of now, and the pandemic has affected it. So if you look at the newspaper even today, you will see the projection for GDP or the current GDP or the way the pandemic has affected the GDP. So just go and do some reading. You will know what GDP is. Actually, GDP is nothing but calculation of the financial activity
Controls.
in the country. Yeah. You have something
National
to say?
income.
Yes.
Net
Gross domestic product.
Yeah.
Yeah, gross domestic product. Good. Right. So as we have seen that the Indian economy is growing at a faster rate. It was supposed to grow at a even faster rate, but because of the pandemic, it has affected. Anyways, uh, however, for growth, you need money, right? So contributing to its high growth are many critical sectors, amongst which financial sector is unarguably one of the most distinguished sectors of the Indian economy. So if you look at the various component of the GDP of India, you will see that the financial sector contributes a lot, or the service sector contributes a lot. Though there is people think that India is basically an agrarian economy, which is no longer true. Agriculture actually contributes only 18%, close to 18, 17, 18% of the total GDP. Financial service sector, um, or the service sector, is nowadays, including your software services and financial services, is a major contribution to the GDP. And if you looked at the way various sectors have reacted to the pandemic, financial sector is one sector which has been robust and solid and has not been affected too much with the pandemic. And it is one of the fastest growing sector in India today. There are two major activities in the economic system. One is production and one is consumption. So if we are talking about some sectors not doing well, that is because there is no consumption. If you look at restaurants, or if you look at theaters, if you look at the hospitality industry, the travel industry, all have suffered because there is no consumption. What does consumption mean? What would consumption mean? Anyone?
If somebody, ma'am, I have answer.
Sorry, what would consumption mean?
Consumption mean, ma'am, if somebody uses a thing that are produced by the
Good.
any company,
Yes.
any institute, that is called consumption.
Correct.
Consumption is the use of goods or services and many other products that we are using or applying in our life.
Right. Good, good, good. So consumption basically means, yes, Dheeraj, you're right, use of services. Yeah. So I would prefer now if you can unmute your mic and speak, because chat have to go and disrupt the flow of my session and go to chat and see if it I would expect you to just unmute and your mic and speak. And it is good to hear different voices, because it's very boring if you hear only one voice. This is mine, which is mine. So unmute your mic and speak, it will be better. Anyways, so good. Kavya, Akshay, Dheeraj, yes, consumption means use. So consumption and production are interrelated. If there is no use or no consumption, there will be no production. And we have seen this. We've seen in today's time, if you look at hospitality industry, you will not see different kind of packages which they would come up for summer holidays, for example, or new movies not releasing in the theater, or no new restaurant opening, right? Or probably even it has affected apparels and clothes. Everything has been affected by the pandemic. So consumption has reduced, and therefore the production also have reduced, and which has obviously adversely affected the economic activity. So the economic system involves both production and consumption. Production is done with the motive of consumption, and consumption happens when production is done. Also, in the earlier part of the lockdown, you would have seen that a lot of things were not available. Even if you wanted to buy them, they were not available, especially medicine. I don't know how many of you had to go and buy medicines or some essential items which are not available because the production was not happening due to the lockdown. So production and consumption are interrelated. Firms produce for consumption by the public, okay, or the household. So firms are the agents of production in an economy. They combine the factor of production and produce output for satisfying individual needs and wants. It is obviously compensated by consumption. Both are interrelated. So consumption is the use of goods and service to satisfy a human need or want. It is the end use of production and also the objective of production activity. So production would happen only when there is consumption, and consumption happens because there is production. So both are interrelated. So in today's time, we all use money in various form, either in electronic form or digital form or plastic form to buy our things. But earlier it was not like this. So earlier it was barter system. Barter was an exchange system. People used to exchange goods amongst themselves for their needs. So for example, I am a potato grower and I had a sack of potato. Now I can't survive only on potato. I will need something else also. So I'll look for somebody who can give me some grains. Okay, so I'll exchange a sack full of potato for a sack of grain. So that was the barter system, exchanging things between each other for meeting your needs or wants. However, in today's time, yes, you have something to say?
Yeah, ma'am. Does barter contains only cash? Either. So if I have some things such like that, I have one thing and I'm going to exchange this thing with another thing.
Yes, barter is an exchange system. It would not have cash.
Yeah.
So barter is an exchange system. Yes.
Okay.
Right. So barter was exchange. It existed in today's time also exists. Basically, it is exchange of value. But in today's time, if you know, the exchange of value is more through currency rather than Yeah, rather than
Barter system is
you know,
And
today
you can,
in terms of money we can exchange.
yes, yes,
In
yes.
yeah,
olden
yeah.
times we exchange other than a product.
So yeah, so you would have seen this in history as well. Whenever there is some problem, some change comes. So what would have been the problem of barter system? Why barter system is not continued till now, or however in some certain parts of the country, maybe rural India, barter system still exists, right? But what are the reason that it slowly moved away, or slowly was replaced by currency? What?
Because we cannot calculate the correct amount of money by
Correct,
exchanging the product.
correct. Yeah. So barter system had its own shares of disadvantage. So first disadvantage was valuation was difficult.
Yeah.
Another very difficult thing was how to know, how to find a person who had the exact thing which I wanted. Right. So here I gave you an example of a sack of potato and a sack of grain. But for example, I wanted something else. I wanted say I wanted milk. Now I'll have to search around and see who will have uh, milk and then go and exchange. Another problem could be that the person who had this sack of grain did not want a sack of potato. He wanted something else which I did not have. So barter system had its own share of disadvantages and shortcomings, and therefore it was gradually replaced with currency, because currency, it is easier to know the value and it is widely acceptable, so everybody is ready to exchange their goods for currency. Okay, so however trade in earlier times began with the barter system. So here the buyer would exchange item with the seller. I'm sure all of you also do barter system. At home, when especially when you were kids, you would do it amongst your siblings, right? So if
Yes,
you
ma'am.
give me your eraser, I will give you my pen. So until the time we had money, we use barter system with our siblings and our friends. I'm sure all of you would have used it in school and at
Yes.
home as well, right? So that is when money came in, and unfortunately, like the infamous virus, money also came from China. China has given us a lot of things, something goods and something which we are
Some
suffering
virus.
for. Huh? So money came in from China. So China was the first country to use recognizable coins, and sometimes around 1100 BC. So even in India, if you go to museum, you will see that we have some coins uh, which were issued and which were also sometimes in the BCs. However, China was the first one to be recognized to given us currency. So China, and earlier to coins, people used to exchange precious metal, weapons, uh, also for exchange, right? So using actual tools and weapons as a medium of exchange to using miniature replicas of the same tool cast in bronze. So that is how money came into existence. So same time in Europe and India and Persia also started using these kind of exchange system. Uh, the first minted coins in 600 BC, Lilia King Alliances minted the first official currency. And then paper currency was used. So paper currency was used by Chinese who started carrying folding money during the Tang dynasty. So paper currency became easier to carry. If you look at the golds and the weapon exchange also had its shares of disadvantage because it was not portable. That means it was difficult to carry it from one place to another. Whereas paper currency was lighter and easier to exchange. So then paper currency came into being. However, now the paper currency is also showing changes, and in today's time we use digital currency or we use plastic money. So currency has still changing its the way it is used. So we have been talking about economics. So economics basically is a study of scarcity of resources and the use of them. How many of you have studied economic as a subject when you in graduation? Anyone has studied economics?
Yeah, ma'am. I have.
Yes, ma'am.
You have also studied Akshay and Kavya, both of you.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
ma'am.
You have graduated or you are in the final year?
Ma'am, I'm graduated.
I'm in final year.
And what about you, Dheeraj? What subjects did you study in your graduation? Final year. Okay. Okay. Dheeraj has also studied economics. Good. Mr. Yadav, what is your name? It shows as KD Yadav. If you can just unmute your mic and let me know your name. KD Yadav. It is a little.
Yeah, good afternoon, ma'am.
Afternoon. What's your name?
Ma'am, Kuldeep Yadav. You know, Kuldeep is outmoded name according to time. Then I think that it would be
No,
KD best.
it's good to know. First name. Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
And we have Santosh. Santosh, what did you study? What were your subjects
No,
in
ma'am.
graduation?
Science, ma'am.
So both Santosh and Kuldeep, no, are science
Yeah, ma'am.
students. Okay. So though we are doing a very basic study of business and economics. In case you find any something difficult to understand, please let me know so that I can take it again. Okay. However, for others, it will be easy to understand because you have read economics or in your graduation. Nothing technical. It is easy to understand. But in case you still find it difficult, we can go over it. Okay. So Akshay, tell us more about economics. What do you understand by economics, and what does it have?
Ma'am, one thing I would like to tell you that the economy is just a system to survive a country.
Good. Yeah.
And ma'am, I cannot define it properly, but it is just as same as I want to tell you.
Sir? Sorry?
Hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, I cannot define it properly.
That is
but
okay. No problem.
Yeah, ma'am, economy is just a system to survive any country in a particular way in the financial sector.
Ma'am, we can say that economics is the manage of money.
Okay. Good. Good.
We can say
Economies.
also that rules and regulations of manage money.
So we'll have to extend this definition a little more because it's not only about money. It is about resources.
It's about resources. It is in economy we can study the resources how we can use in a best way without any wastage.
Correct. Right. So economy is the study of study and uses of resources, because resources are scarce, and how can we use that those resources is what economic tells us. Okay. And as Akshay told us that it is a system, right? So
Yeah.
and our system has various components. So the economic also has the general environment, the political system, the economic system, the demographics. Demographic is the makeup of or the way your population is, right? It has the cultural forces, political.
Ma'am, one thing I want to know that what is the difference between, I'm sorry to ask it, but I want to know that what is the difference between, yeah, ma'am, I want to know that what is the difference between revenue and tax?
Revenue and tax.
Tax,
Okay.
yeah, ma'am.
So revenue is any kind of income. Revenue is any kind of income. A company can have a revenue, you can have a revenue, I can have a revenue, right? Revenue is any kind of income, but taxes is collected by the government, and tax is a revenue for the government. So when we say we look at a bank, for example, right? Now the bank cannot ask you to pay tax, though it asks you to collect some tax from you, but it then pays it to the government. So the bank will never ask you some tax. The revenue for the bank would be the interest it earns on various kind of loans, and then the service charges which it charges. So that is the revenue for the bank. Revenue is the source of income. right? But taxes is
Oh.
something which you have to pay to the government. And obviously
Maybe you can
tax is a revenue for the government.
it can be said that the revenue is collected by the taxes
Yes, for the government, only for the government.
only for the government.
Yes. So for the government, revenue is a tax. So revenue is basically where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
For the government, it will come from taxes.
It
Any
tells
other way
us that-
government can have revenue? What are the other ways the government can earn revenue apart
like
from
rent,
taxes?
bus rent, train rent, flight rent. That is convenient. It is just
Correct.
also a way of revenue.
By tourism,
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
tourism,
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 Okay, yeah, tourism. Correct.
and
and
ma'am, our land revenue also maybe included
Yeah.
in it.
but they are
And
coming in
revenue,
property
but
tax.
it is more
Common
like
tax.
tax, no? It is more like
Yeah,
tax.
ma'am, can it be asked?
Like-
Can it be said task?
Sorry?
And can it be said land revenue can be said as a tax?
Land revenue is a tax only, no? You have to pay the tax to the government,
Property tax.
property tax and the water tax and
Yeah.
the property tax, yeah.
Ma'am, as I know that it is called land revenue.
Land revenue.
My father told me because he is an revenue officer. So
So yeah, so so if you read the newspaper, you will also see that the government also gets revenue from the resources of the country. So for example, we just had a 5G auction, right?
yeah,
Yes.
Government, it is basically giving the rights. From there also the revenue for the government will come. Also the revenue from the government can come by privatization. So there is a lot of discussion on privatization of LIC, privatization of railways. That means the government is
Earning.
selling its own share in that particular business. So that is also a source of revenue for the government. So to just sum up what we were talking about. So we were talking about revenue is a source of income for the government. This revenue can be through taxes. It can be through disinvestment. That means selling its shares in any business. And it can also be through auction of natural resources. So that is what is the revenue for the
government.
So how does the money move? Okay, so those are the economic pathways.
I want to ask one question. What is demographics?
Demographic is the details of the citizens, right?
Okay.
So, for example, when we look at the Indian population,
Yes, ma'am.
where are the major citizen? Which age group? So we say, yeah, India is young demographic, like young population.
Yeah.
Right. So it is the study of the
Citizens.
Yes, of the citizen of-
citizens. Yeah. Demography, the details of the people. So where do they live? How much they have studied? What is their age group? Those are demographics.
Okay.
Right? So economic pathways are through which these resources move in. So resources can be built by borrowing. When people are employed, they have disposable income or income which they can spend, right? Then the taxes, the benefit and incentives,
Yes.
then government expenditure. So this is also one thing which you will read in the newspaper these days, that the government is trying to kick, provide a kick to the economy by spending. Because when you spend, there is movement of money, right? So if you look at the growth of the economy, how does the economy grow? It grows by
By investing.
spending, by investment, by spending, right? It also grows by household consumption. So just before I started your session, I was reading about home loans. So the home loan. So various banks are giving incentives to take home loans, and I'm sure all your parents and people who are earning also keep on getting these messages to take loan every now and then, especially during the pandemic. You get a lot of messages for taking loans. So what is this? This is a a way by improving the economy. When people will have money, when if they borrow, people will have money. When they have money, they will spend it. So even if I take a housing loan or a car loan or a personal loan, I will take it for spending, right? So that is how the government is trying to grow the economy, because it has suffered due to the pandemic. So if the household consumption increases, if the saving increases, so any idea how saving can improve the economy? So we've seen spending improves the economy, yes, because if somebody is buying, somebody will have to make it. But how
Paid.
savings? I'm sorry,
Nothing, ma'am. Nothing, ma'am.
anyone? How savings improve the economy? Okay, where do you save? When we save, yeah, we are saving our money. Where do we save? Do we keep it in
In
the
our bank,
Almirah and save it?
In our bank, or
in
we
bank
can do
accounts.
FD or in stock market. There we invest our money.
Ma'am, ma'am, one thing.
Yeah.
Can our money be secured in stock market? Is it proper?
Our money is not secure in
Yeah.
stock market.
And yeah, exact.
Okay, so we as we graduate, we will also learn the difference between saving and investment. But anyways, most of us save in the bank. Now, the bank
Yes,
does not keep that money. The bank does not keep that money because the bank has to give interest on this money. So it has to use this money. So if you save, even if you save in the bank gives it to other people as loans, and it keeps the economy growing. So even saving is an economic pathway or way to improve the economic activities. So exports, demand, yes.
Ma'am, can a bank transfer the money to any private organization without in the purpose of loan?
Transfer? The bank does not transfer, it gives it as a loan. And when it is giving as a loan, the bank is giving as a loan, the bank will take precautions to give it to people who can return it.
Ma'am, is there any other process to give money without loaning?
In the sense, I don't understand your question. Means charity? The bank obviously is a
no,
commercial organization who wouldn't do charity. Yeah.
No, ma'am. As a bank gives money to any manufacturing organization, like
Bank can give a loan to any manufacturer. Obviously, there are many things which the bank sees before lending, but the bank can give loan. And if you so that is what I'm saying, telling you to read the newspaper in today's yesterday's paper. Also, you will see that the RBI has asked the banks to give more loans to the sectors which have suffered in the pandemic, like restaurants and entertainment industries. So I actually don't see your questions in the correct, like why are you
okay,
asking this in the sense?
yeah, ma'am. Listen, ma'am. Suppose there is a private organization, then can a bank, government bank, ma'am, probably can purchase any kind of share in that organization, like through spending his money.
So these are two different things. Loan is a different thing. Buying share is a different thing. So share is basically investment in the financial markets. Yes, banks have restrictions on investment. So as we have seen that when you invest money in the share market, you don't have any surety. You don't have, it's not,
Secure.
100% safe. Yeah. So yes, the banking regulation has some guidelines or some regulations for the bank to invest in the financial market. Yes, they do have. So the banks have to function within the guidelines of the Banking Regulation Act along with the RBI's. So yes, banks have some restriction on investments.
Okay.
So you have exports, demands, imports, investments, buying and selling. All of them are economic pathways, and because they enable the movement of money from one place to another. Also, the way foreign currency comes into the country. And these are certain things which affect the taxes. For example, inflation. Inflation is the rise in the prices, investment cost. Yeah, so these are the things which affect. So this is what we were just spoken about, how we have tried to understand economics. So economic deals with the uses of resources of a nation for human consumption. Economic strives to for optimum use of resources. So we have seen that resources are scarce and we have to use it optimally. We are not using the word maximum or minimum, because maximum can be more, but optimum is something which is required. So to understand the word optimum, you can see, for example, when we try to put curd, तो अगर आप बहुत ज्यादा गर्म कर देंगे दूध का टेम्परेचर तो भी आपका दही नहीं जमेगा, and if it is the
Below
temperature
than.
is very low, तब भी नहीं जमेगा. You have to have an optimum, right? So maybe there are places where you can get a very high rate of return, but you don't have the liquidity, for example, right? Liquidity is the ease of conversion into cash. So obviously you will not invest there. So economic is trying to balance optimum use of resources. So how can they be put to best use, right? This is also one definition of economics, study of scarcity of resources. So we have resources, but resources are not abundant. They are in scarce quantity, and therefore we have to look at how we can use these resources to the optimum. And we see that this is also done at the individual level. So for example, your mother makes a budget where she tries to allocate the resources in the optimum way. So certain things which are necessary, she would not cut down on that expenditure, but certain things which are not necessary, she might not allocate resources. So for example, education or nutrition, these are some things where people do not compromise. However, entertainment, for example, or eating out are the things which can be compromised on. So we also do individual decisions for allocating our resources. So it's true for individuals. It is true also for the country, because the resources are in scarcity and we have to use these resources to generate optimum results. So scarcity ensures individuals make decisions about how the scarce resources are allocated. Economic, in turn, aims to study, why we make this decision and how we allocate our resources more efficiently. There are two branches of economics: microeconomics and macroeconomics. So micro is smaller version, macro is broader version. So microeconomics is the study of decisions made by individuals and firms in a particular market, whereas macroeconomics looks at the economy as a whole to understand its performance, structure, and behavior, and the factors that impact these parameters. So to differentiate between microeconomic and macroeconomics, macroeconomics take the bigger picture for aggregating the results impact on this decision on individual market. Yeah, Kavya, you had something to add?
Yes, ma'am. In microeconomics, we study the demand. If we take about the demand, we study the demand of individual, and in macroeconomics, we take an aggregate demand of a sector or economy.
And when we are studying the economy of the country or how the resources should be allocated in the country, we have to look at, or even investment decision, we have to also look at the macroeconomic factors. So this chart tells the difference between micro and macroeconomics. So we've seen micro is at a smaller level. So it's a study the behavior of individual consumers or firms, whereas macroeconomics studies the behavior of the whole economy. Microeconomic looks at the demand, supply, product pricing, factor pricing, production, etc. Whereas macroeconomics covers national income, general price level, inflation, employment, money, etc., and the flow of money. Microeconomic helps to determine price of a particular commodity or factor of production, whereas macroeconomic helps to determine general price level. Microeconomic takes the bottom up approach, मतलब नीचे से ऊपर जा रहा है, right? Whereas macroeconomics takes a top down approach, मतलब it is coming from
Up to down.
up to down. Yeah. So that is the difference between microeconomic and macroeconomic. So if you look at the agents of economic activity, so they can be classified in two distinct groups. One as the consumer and other are the firms or the manufacturers. So the firms produce the goods and the individual consumes the goods. So we have earlier seen about production and consumption. So production is done by the firms or the companies, whereas the consumption is done by the individuals. Individual or consumers, they are the providers of basic factors of production, that is land, labor, and capital, and they get wage, rent, and interest.
Interest.
Whereas the firms, they combine the factor of production to produce output for consumption of individual or consumers in return of profit. So if you look at, it's a interrelated relationship. So for example, where we have seen that firms need money. Where does the money come from? The money comes from the consumer. So people like you and me go and keep our money in the bank for saving, right? Or invest it. Now, what does the bank do? Bank gives this as a loan to a firm, or the firm can also raise this money from the market, which we're going to understand in detail a little later. But this is our money. So that's why whenever there's a fraud, or when we talk about non-performing assets of a bank, you will see that citizens get very angry on that it is our money. Our money has been lost by the bank. Okay, so it is our money, which is the money which we have kept in the bank, right? So we provide, the consumers provide capital, then we go and work for this company. So for example, you work for a bank, so you will also provide labor, and you might also some individual would have lent the premises to the bank. So किसी ने rent पे premises भी दिया होगा. So these factors of production is provided by the individuals. So land, labor, and capital is provided by the consumers. Okay. In return, the firms give wages, rent, and interest. So wages are your salary. If you're working for a company, if you pay you a salary, if they've taken a property on rent, they will pay the rent, and if they have borrowed money, they will pay interest. So these are the factors of production which are used by the firms and to generate income, right? So factors of production are land, labor, and capital, and the income is generated by rent, wages, and interest. So if you have a land or a premises, the firm will pay you a rent. If you're working for them, they will pay you wages. And if you have given them money on interest, then as loan, then they will pay interest. So these are the factors of production, and they help individuals generate income. Now we have seen, if there is no capital, if there is no money, the economy would not grow. So if whatever money I have, I keep it in my Almirah, I don't keep it with the bank, what will happen? The money would never grow. The money would remain the same. Or on the other hand, it might reduce, because of inflation. So today, if I buy a thing at 100 rupees, I might not be able to buy it at the same price after 2 years. So my money, instead of increasing, it is decreasing. Also, if banks don't have money, if the companies don't have money, they will not be able to generate employment or generate any kind of income. So capital is very required for growth of an economy. So capital is nothing but money or resources. So capital brings together all the other factors of production and thereby create a conducive environment for economic activity to take place. And only when you have capital, the resources can be used optimally to generate economic activity. So if you look at, if a new project come, for example, some of you are from Lucknow, no? So you've seen Lucknow Metro, right? So Lucknow Metro has helped in development of the infrastructure, but it has also helped in generation of employment. So if you using a metro, you will see there are people who are sweeping or cleaning the metro, so employment for them. Then you have people at the ticket counter. Then you have somebody to run the metro. So it has generated a lot of employment. Now what happened? Now if a sweeper, a person who is doing the cleaning, now he will earn money. When he earns money, he will also spend that money. So for example, he goes and started eating in a restaurant. Now that restaurant will also have to provide him food. If he buys a television, the television company will have to manufacture it, and in turn the television company will also generate employment. So this is a cycle which is dependent on capital. So if you have money, you can kickstart the economic activity by generating employment. And when you have employment, people have money, and then they spend, and therefore generate more employment, right? So capital generates uses land and labor as factors of production to uh, for economic activity. Okay? So without sufficient capital, economic capital activity cannot start, or even if it starts, will not be able to sustain for long. For the progress of overall of economy, availability of sufficient capital is of utmost importance. So money is required, capital is required. So just if you read the newspaper, you will see how the government is trying to improve the economy by trying to generate more and more money, or try to circulate more money. Okay, so let us check how far we remember what we have learned today. So what are the different factors of production contributed by individuals? In the economic activity, what are the factors of production?
Rent, wages, and interest.
No, this is contributed by individuals? No.
No,
What is
Land, labor, and capital, ma'am. Sorry. Yeah.
So rent, wages, and interest are provided by the firm.
Farms. Yeah, ma'am.
So land, labor, and capital
Capital
are provided by the
Individuals.
individuals.
individual.
Correct. So which of the following statement is true? Production is the activity whereby the factors are combined to generate output to satisfy the need and wants of individual by way of consumption. A need is something essential for survival, where wants are good to have, not essential for survival. Macroeconomy is the study of decision made by individual and firms, while microeconomy is the study of economy as a whole to understand its performance. So
One
out of
and
these
two.
1 and 3. 1 and 3.
1 and 2.
is 3 correct? Is 3 correct? 3 says macroeconomics is the
1
study
and
of
2 only.
Yeah,
1 and 2
correct. Correct, Kavya. So macroeconomics is not the study made by
3 is
individuals.
opposite.
It's the opposite.
Yeah.
So microeconomy is the study of decision made by individual
Sorry.
and firms, whereas macroeconomics is the study of economies as a whole to understand its performance. So we've just seen, no, microeconomics is a bottom-up approach and macroeconomics is a top-down approach.
Yes.
Right? So to summarize what we have learned today, we've seen production and consumption are the basic building blocks of economic activity. There are two branches of economic study, which is microeconomics, which deals with economic decision at individual or firm level, whereas microeconomics, which deals with
Overall
that and
economy as
overall
a-
economic level. factors of productions are such as land, labor, and capital are combined to achieve production of goods and services. And capital or money is the key factor which brings together other factors and then thus initiate and sustain economic activity. Okay. Fine. So I
Ma'am,
will
ma'am,
not
one thing.
begin. Yes.
Ma'am, can you please switch to quiz number 2?
Want me to come to this question?
Quiz ma'am.
Yes.
Then ma'am, then which option is correct, ma'am?
1 and 2.
Ma'am, can you please make me understand the point number 2?
Number 2 actually is more of it the way you define need. Need is something which is essential, no? And you also studies as a part of economics. Want is something which is not required. So if you look at the
Yeah.
pandemic, all the wants have been minimized. So for example, before the pandemic, we all wanted to see movies first day, first show, right? So that
Yes.
was a
Okay, ma'am.
want, and it was very, very essential for us. Even we pressurized our parents to make us go for that movie. So at that time, we thought, "Nahin, this is what this is essential." But the pandemic has made us realize what is essential and what is not. So anything
Need.
which is essential for your survival is a need. Anything
Need is
else
a
is
food,
want.
shelter, and clothes
Yeah.
for a survival. That is
Yes,
called need.
yes. So
Okay, ma'am.
this time, probably it is very difficult, for youngsters like you to differentiate between need and want. But
Right.
this pandemic has
Told us how what
told
is needed.
everyone what is difference between need and want. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you would have, a lot of time argued with your parents that it is like even if you want to go and stay
Yeah.
at your friend's place for your friend's birthday party, it was like need for you.
Yes.
But now you know it is not need. It is
Want.
It is our want.
that is the difference. Need is something essential
Yes,
for
ma'am.
survival. Want is something which
As
is
us, we want.
want.
It's a demand.
Right. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
I think we'll end the session here today, and tomorrow we'll start with a new topic.
Okay, ma'am.
So all of you who are in the final year of your graduation, any news on your exams? When will you have your exams?
No, ma'am. I don't have any news regarding my exam.
Okay. So Kuldeep has asked a question from 9 June, Delhi. Okay. Match is going to be weekend, otherwise Monday or Friday. I do not have an idea. It will depend on how things work, how many people join in. I really don't have an idea. As of now, we have the session tomorrow. I also don't know about the next week, so it is, you will get the information as and when you will have the batch. So as of now, we have Saturday and Sunday. Going forward, I don't know how your batch would be placed. It will be dependent on a lot of factors. Yeah.
Ma'am, I want to ask one question.
Yes, Kavya.
Ma'am, in LMS we get all the study material.
Yes.
Okay.
LMS, you will get all these study materials. All these presentation would be a part of your LMS. In how many months batch will complete? Again, the answer would be dependent on how many classes you have. So to give you a picture, so we have a batch which runs 3 hours, 4 or 5 days a week. That batch completes in 3.5 months. Okay. Now, when your batch would complete would be dependent on the number of hours you are completing in a week. Yeah. So it will depend how your batch runs. So as of now, we do not have an answer to that. So all of you would have also realized that there are certain things which are beyond our control. So for example, your classes otherwise are conducted offline, but because of the restriction, we have to conduct it online. So there are lots of ifs and buts, and we don't have right answers to that. But as and when we progress, we might be able to answer these questions. But ideally, a batch which runs 5 days a week completes in 3.5 months.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, ma'am.
Fine. So we'll call it a day and we meet tomorrow. And tomorrow we are going to start with how the capital is formed. Okay. So in case, okay, you don't have, okay, all of you don't have your LMS ID. So maybe you'll not be able to do it anyways. So we will do it tomorrow. Okay. Chalo, bye. Meet you tomorrow, 3
Yes,
o'clock.
ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.